Hello everyone, Jilles Groskamp here from Team Infinity, and today in this video I want to talk about the INFINITY IF15-2, and I want to show you how I make the final setup of the car. At the moment it's raining outside, has been not so nice weather in Europe, so I had a lot of time wrenching at home, and I completed my IF15-2. But I still have to do the final setup before going to the track. So in this video I want to show you what are my steps to put the car completely in the setup. I have my tools here for the width, for the camber, the droop tools. So yeah, come and have a look to see how I will do the final setup. Yeah, before I'm gonna set up the car, I first make sure that the top deck is attached on the car, and make sure that the screw on the bulkhead and the top deck are tight, and the car is flat on the blocks. First I put it together like this, and it's kind of close, but I still have no droop, no correct width. So here are the steps. So first of all I'm gonna check the width of the car, and I'm gonna put it on both sides at the same width, and I'm gonna start with 199 front and rear. So let's do that first. This is normally the way I measure the width of the car, and at this moment it's 199.8, so I'm gonna put it on 199. So now I measure the rear, the distance with the hub and the arm. It's 4.4. So I was 199.7, so I will go 4 millimeter on both sides. Now the distance is set here at 4 millimeter. I will get my camber and my toe gauge, and you can leave the front tires on the car to measure the rear toe and the rear camber. And now I will both check. So the toe in is about 3 degrees now, and I only adjust the front of the rear hub because the rear was already set at 4 millimeter. So the toe is only done by the front pivot ball. So that's 3. So both now are set on 3 degrees toe in, both sides. And now I will also adjust the camber, and a good starting setup is about 3.5 degree rear camber. The camber can be done with the Infinity hook. It's a very easy tool to adjust the upper link. So now the camber is set at 3.5 degrees. So now a very important thing, as I said before, the car was built and is not completely fine-tuned yet. There's a little bit of play on the pivot ball in the hub. So because I set the width now and the toe, I can fine-tune the play on the pivot ball. So I take out the upper link and I check if it's free but still have a little bit of play. So I tighten the hex a little bit, and I make sure that I have minimum play, but still the hub can free fall. So I will do that on both sides. Now that's done, I will remove the shocks, and of course I already make sure that the length of the shocks are correct, and also the distance from the shock body to the shock retainer is the same left and right, to have a basic have a straight or a flat ride height. Now the shocks are removed, and I check if everything works free, and it does. Now I'm gonna set the rear droop, and now I will remove the anti-roll bar on one side to set the droop. So let's set the droop now. A basic droop setting is about 4 millimeter. So I use 10 millimeter drop blocks and yeah, so it has to be around 4mm. My drop block is a little bit old, but it's 4mm, and I want it the same on both sides. Now the droop is set at 4mm, and as you see, they both work independent. And now I will connect the roll bar again. The roll bar is connected now, and I haven't set the roll bar length, of course, the linkage yet. And I know the droop is 4mm on both sides, but you can see this one is kind of lifting up and this one is all the way down. That means that this roll bar linkage is too short, or that one is too long. I want to have the linkage at 90 degrees, so straight up. And at the same time, I want to have the roll bar also as straight as possible. So I'm gonna fine tune now the roll bar to get it more even. And I will try to make this longer to see whenever something gonna change. This one is still lifting up, and this is still immediately moving, so this one still have to be longer, or now this one has to be a little bit shorter. After a few adjustments, now the final roll bar is set. So this has a little bit of play before it's lifting, this has a little bit of play before it's lifting, so this is equal. And now I recheck the droop if there's no changes. So this is still 4mm, and this should be also 4mm. So that's also set now. Now the rear is done. Something I had to mention before, I had to set the ride height actually before I did everything. So the ride height is about 8mm in the rear, on both sides of course. And now I also check if the droop was fine, because you can lift the car up, and if the both tires are lifting up at the same time, everything is working and it's fine. In this case it's perfect. Now I've done the rear, going to the front. I first gonna check the ride height in front. It should be about 7mm. And again, make sure that the spring is set at the same height left and right. So in this case is 6.5. And by the way, these tires are 62 and 64mm. So the ride height should be around 8 and 7mm with this size of tires. Also here I check first the width of the car. And in this case it's 200mm, so I'm gonna go to 199. So on both sides I'm gonna make it a 0.5mm more narrow. In this case you can do two things. You can measure the width like this to be even left and right, or you can measure the distance between the arm and the knuckle. Yeah, both ways should be just the same left and right. Now the width is set about 199. Of course it's still to fine tune a little bit, because you have to do also the camber. So let's do the camber now. So now I set the camber, and the camber should be about 1.5 degree. Some track you run 1, some track you use 2 degrees. So this is a basic setup, so I will go for 1.5. Now some of the most important things in my opinion is the toe out in front. I usually set about 1 degree of toe out on each wheel. Depends on the track. Sometimes if it's edgy, you can add a little bit more, like a 1.2 or even 1.5 degree toe out on each side. And now comes the thing. I always measure the lengths of the turnbuckle left and right, and that should be equal. So sometimes you see the servo saver is in the middle, but the toe is not the same. So I always measure the length on both sides of the turnbuckle, and that should be equal. The easiest way to measure the length is with the caliper in the bottom of the car, and in this case it's 30.4, and the other side is about 29.4, so that's quite off. So I will add up both and I divide by 2, which should be about 29.9. Now most is set. What I want to know now is the pivot ball, if it runs smooth for the knuckle and with minimum play. So again, you can also use the plug tool, because also have the hex, you have a little bit more force. So you tight the pivot ball as much as you can till it's still free but have minimum play. Same what I did with the rear. I will remove the front shocks now, and I gonna first measure the droop, and also I gonna untie the roll bar just to make sure the droop is set in a correct way on both sides. Now the roll bar is not attached, so we can easily set the droop of the front arm, and I normally run around 0, and that is depends on the track, on the tire size, but in this case 4 in the rear and 0 in the front. Droop is set. Now the roll bar is attached. I must say on the new IF15-2 it's a little bit more critical with the roll bar, so make sure that the roll bar linkage is mounted 90 degrees, is straight up, and check if it doesn't touch the drive shaft. So in this case the roll bar is already very close to be good. Slight adjustments still. On the bottom you can adjust the roll bar, the linkage length, and make sure on both sides it lifts up at the same time with a little bit of play, and try to have the roll bar also in a flat angle. And again, it's a little bit more tight everything, but it should be very smooth and not touching the drive shaft. And of course, when the roll bar is attached again, I will recheck the droop if it's still the same. It should be in most cases the same, and both are 0, and everything works freely, the same play left and right. So I'm gonna put the shocks back on. So look at this beauty, it's all set now. It's ready to go on track. Everything is set. I'm looking forward to the first races of the season. As you can see, my car has some option parts. The UFO screws make it super nice. The aluminium servo saver. Yeah. Also in the rear, the UFO screws. Oh, looks super nice. In the bottom I have the weights, 20 and 28 grams. Maybe I need a little bit more in front of the bumper. Yeah, these are also this is the car equipped with the hard plastic now. So the lower and the upper arm are hard. Also the knuckles. So I'm very looking forward to the new season, to run this car. So I can't wait. So yeah, this was my video about the IF15-2 and the final setup before going on track. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you have any questions, please put it in a comment, and hopefully see you again soon.